Happy Sunday, Facebook world, family, friends. I hope you all are having a wonderful day. It's a beautiful overcast day in my city. I live in Los Angeles. And in case you're wondering who is this weird lady that just appeared on my screen, I am Staci. I, again, live in Los Angeles. And in response to the overwhelming angst that we are all experiencing to some degree in the world, I wanted to use my platform to kind of offer some encouragement, inspiration, motivation, just a little respite from everything that's going on in the world. So I started my own show. It's a little clunky right now. Charge it to my head, not my heart. I am a chef. I'm not I'm not an Oprah Winfrey person. I'm just someone who wanted to use what I have where I am to help someone in the world. And so here we are with Coffee with Staci. Today's discussion is going to be a much needed talk um, because I'm seeing as I'm, engaging in the world, in the physical world and then in the digital space, that many people are having a really hard time coping with everything that's going on, with fear from the pandemic and with loss of jobs, loss of lives, people being infected, the political climate, the movement for social justice. We have a lot going on. And in ordinary circumstances, like in ordinary times, we would have the ability to meet each other, to connect physically so that we could get that relief, that release. We would be able to vent with our family, with our friends. And now we're being asked to socially distance. But now we're being asked to stay home as much as you can. And that kind of hinders us from getting the support that we need in the real world. So I am going through my friends list and the people that I know in the world, and I'm just asking them to come on and just have conversations with me about things that are important and to give tips to help us to manage during this time. I do want to say that it's not going to last forever. We know that. But it is always good to have a strategy in the midst of turmoil so that you can, you know, move through the world in a way that is not bogging you down, and so that you're not having to feel like you're alone, because you're not. You're in this online space where there are, millions of people. So this is my offering. Okay, so my guest is Ashley Slade Harewood. She is like my favorite artist. She is what you call an Afro-futuristic artist. I met her on Facebook, and I fell in love with her art, and then her personality, her spirit, and the content that she shares is so positive and so inspiring. And I received a newsletter from her a few months ago where she talked about channeling your creativity to deal with stress, to deal with anxiety for people who are dealing with depression. And I thought that would be a great topic to help people to channel your creativity. We all have it in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Not everyone's a gifted, you know, painter or sculptor, but you have something, right? And so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about strategies and tips that we can use to relieve stress and to channel all of the negative energy that's in our space, and that tries to seep into our beings to weigh us down. We don't have to be weighed down if we can help it. So I'm going to bring Ashley in, and we're going to get started. Is she there? Let's see. Hey.
Hey, I see you. Do you see me?
Did you see me dance? Yeah, I can see you. Did you
Yeah,
see
and
me
you can hear
dancing?
me too.
I can hear you perfectly. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm super glad that we have this overcast sky.
Yes,
Yes, I think
yes.
I think the universe finally got the memo that we're done with we're done with summer. We loved it, we appreciated it.
Yeah, it was nice while we had it, but I
I like to,
I love fall. I love fall.
me
So
too, me
it's
too.
my vibe. I really like it. I like seeing the leaves change a little bit, cooling down. I'm tired of being
Right?
hot.
Yes, sweating. I'm like, I
Yes.
barely moved and I'm sweating.
I know, seriously, I walk around the house and I'm just like, oh my God, yeah. So
We really appreciate this weather. I really appreciate you coming and talking with me. The times are heating up.
yeah,
November 3rd
yeah.
is around the corner and people are
It's
not dealing
it's a
well.
wild time. It's absolutely a wild time.
Very much so. And so I thought, who better to talk to about this than my favorite artist? So I would like for you, please, to just introduce yourself, tell people what you do, and then we'll roll into our conversation.
Okay, my name is Ashley Slade, and I am a collage artist, an illustrator, right outside of LA in Pasadena. And I use art to, channel things like my happiness and my stresses. I do Afro-futurist art, which is really setting typically Black women, but all people of color in futuristic settings, um, because everybody deserves to have their adventure. Um, and that's kind of what I want to portray, and dreaming of better futures. So that's kind
Absolutely.
of where I'm going with my art.
I love it. Now, I don't know the name of the piece, but she is she's hanging upside down. Um, I don't know the name. It's my favorite. That's the one that I want to have like huge, like the largest that you can
Is
make
she
it.
gold?
She is not, but I know that there's like blue
Okay.
background, a blue background. That is my
Yeah.
favorite one. Yeah. At any rate, I love your art because, as you said, it portrays Black women. I see myself in your work. It's just like,
Oh, that's the
wow,
best.
yeah,
That's what I
yes,
want.
yeah. I see myself in your work, and I'm just like, I want so badly for you to make like, um, I don't know, like graphic novels, something.
I would love to.
Yes, like graphic novels, and then maybe bring it to the television screen. I just want it to be out there so that others can appreciate and enjoy it too. Because I really do appreciate your
Oh,
work.
thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
So, can you tell us what is creativity? What does that mean?
So, there are a lot of definitions of creativity. I mean, you can Google and see a bunch of them. But I have a specific way I like to think of creativity, which is making something that didn't exist before, revealing something that did exist but wasn't easy to see, or both. And so I'll give you an example. If you were making a dish, since you're a chef, I'll use food examples.
Thank you.
You want to make a whole new dish. You've been inspired. You want to do something different. So you make your dish. It wasn't there before. So that is creativity. But also you're revealing something that was there, which is things about yourself as you're creating.
Hmm.
So people will see maybe your culture. Maybe you use that to inspire your dish. Maybe you've traveled and something inspired you, and people can see that in the dish. Maybe it's your values. Maybe you made a vegan dish because you care about animal welfare. All of those things go into your creative process, but it's already in you. So you're not creating that, you're revealing that. So
I
you're
like
making
that.
something new, but also revealing something about yourself every time that you go to create.
Because I know that most people, when they think of creativity, they automatically think of like an artist. They automatically think of like a musician, something
Right.
that that's their natural talent, but then they're also trained in that. And so a lot of people think, well, I'm not creative, or they don't see that what they do in their everyday life is creativity. And so, how can we, just the average everyday person, how can we identify something and then like bring it out? How do we channel that energy?
So it's creativity is about it, it's about experimentation. And so you can do that in any aspect of your life. If you're a mathematician and you're trying to come up with um, a new calculus, a new equation, that takes creative effort because
Mm.
you're going to experiment to see what works. You'll finally find the answer, and what you reveal is that you want to solve a particular problem. So, what is this equation for? Um, Is it to make math easier for young people? Then you've revealed your value that you care about education. Um, so you can apply this to any aspect of your life. Um, One thing I like to do to get ideas down that I suggest to everyone is journaling,
Yeah.
of course, and then sitting with yourself. So it doesn't have to be formal meditation, honestly, just sitting quietly for a few minutes, letting yourself get bored, because that's when the ideas strike. A lot of people don't want to be bored nowadays because we have
Oh,
social media, we have a lot of distractions, and even under this time of quarantine, we've got Netflix, we've got every kind of distraction. The fridge, I know that's a big distraction for me.
absolutely.
So um, we don't just sit, and that's what's made sometimes being in this period very hard for people. But
Hmm.
embracing that and relaxing and letting yourself be bored, letting thoughts come, is something that really helps with creativity. And I have a little bit of a shortcut. Um, Collage.
Okay.
I recommend collage to everybody, no matter what you do. It is both journaling and meditation at the same time.
Okay. And how do we do that? Because when I think of
All you
collage, I'm thinking of like cutting out pictures in a magazine or.
Yeah, you can do digitally. You can do it like just a stack of magazines, some scissors, a glue stick, and a piece of
Yeah.
paper. You don't even have
Yeah.
to glue it down if you just cut things out and arrange them on a desk. Just grab what speaks to you. You don't even have to have a plan. But what
Hmm.
happens is eventually things are revealed. You figure out, why do I keep cutting out things that are green? Why do I keep gravitating towards this word? Like maybe I keep cutting out the word hope, or keep cutting out images of love. These don't have to even be like vision boards where you're trying to predict something about your life. It doesn't even have to be that, but you reveal a lot about yourself. And that's really the most important part of creativity for me, is like it's really a self exploration. And then when you show that to others and they vibe with it and they understand it, that's such a high. That's such a like great feeling. It shows our interconnectedness.
Hmm.
So
Absolutely.
that's really like the reason I get up in the morning. It's like, okay, I'm gonna express myself, and then somebody out there is gonna see that and they're gonna feel that too, and it's just like a magical thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I think, what I really wanted to hone in on is the fact that people need a way to express their emotions. There are a lot of emotions that we are having to now confront and face because we're in quarantine in some aspect. But then there's so much going on all at one time that I don't think people even know how to express it. And so the go-to is like anger and
Right,
rage.
right.
And so how can we specifically, express that? I know that like music, like people who write songs, I love songwriters as well
Mm,
because they have a way of accurately expressing emotions through their words. And so
right.
how can I, just a regular me, um, do that? How do I express, my sadness, with these people, with everyone passing away unexpectedly because of a virus
Right,
that we can't see? How
right.
do I express my feelings about my emotions about, the state of my country, which is
Yes,
insane right now? How do I express my joy about the movement, the social justice movement that's happening? And like people are actively participating in change in the world, and that is exciting. It's overjoying to me, actually. So,
right.
how can I express all of that, get it out? Because most people internalize it and they're holding it in their stomach and they're holding it in their backs and in their necks, and,
Yes,
and then
yes.
and it's coming out in ways that are not expected, like illness, you
Yes,
know?
yes. So, one thing to keep in mind for everyone listening, if you're not okay right now, that's okay. And I think our society doesn't want us to accept that. There's so many things like 12 steps to be happy, or
Mm,
like 10 steps to alleviate, to get rid of stress. And I think that's the wrong way to go about it, because if we try to tramp down our emotions and not express, then those things like illness and heartache just reverberate in your body. And so you have to give it a vessel. um, And that really does take practice and experimentation. So for me, when I was very stressed a long time ago, I had started doodling in the margins of things in my books and stuff, and it just kept going and going, and now it has expressed itself in this, art form. But it could be anything. If you're really upset, go out and take pictures. Look up a type of art that you want to try. Think of something that you want to experiment with, and just go and see how your emotions come out in that work. I think, again, journaling is a good way to start because it's something we all have access to. We've all done it before in some way. We've all written down how we feel. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes that kind of gets your juices flowing, gets your ideas going. So it's like, okay, I keep seeing this image, like I keep seeing fire. There's a lot of fires
Mm-hmm.
in our area. And then, of course, during a lot of the protests, there were fires. So maybe that's an image that keeps coming in your mind and you're angry and you keep seeing these flames. So you write it down and you think like, okay, what can I do with that? Maybe I can draw a fire. Maybe I can, carefully light a candle and take pictures of it. You just have to like go with the symbols that are coming to you and be one with those, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. I know I started, well, when the pandemic first started, I picked up adult coloring books.
Yeah.
And that was cool for a while. But for something, it's something about it that they're so detailed that it was frustrating to me to have to, figure out all of that. But then when my daughter went back to school, she finally got to take an extra, what's it called? What's that class? She got to take she's in a fashion class.
Oh, cool.
And right, so because she's a special education student and she doesn't have the ability to like draw, so I have to assist her. And
Right.
for some reason, I was excited about sketching. The croquis, the design mannequins. For anyone who doesn't know what that is, the design
Okay.
mannequins. I ended up buying a designer's sketchbook, and so I have all these designs, and I could do it for hours and
See?
hours and
And
hours.
that's because you were open,
Yes.
and observing what you don't like is part of that process too. So when you're
Yes.
doing the coloring book, you're like, okay, I don't like these details.
Mm-mm.
That's fine. When you observe the artistic world, like the art around you, part of that self-discovery and knowing what you like is knowing what you don't like.
Mm-hmm.
um,
Absolutely.
have you ever walked by a house and been like, whoa, that is an ugly house. I would never live in that house. What in the world? Like, who would build something like this?
Yes.
And, but if you really think about it, and this is the key, stopping and thinking, why don't I like that house? Is it the color? Is it the size? Is it ugly columns? And then you start to think like, okay, maybe it's gaudy. It's got way too much detail.
Mm-hmm.
Then maybe your style, your expression is more minimalist. Maybe you,
Absolutely.
you just like things to be simple. Maybe that's how you solve problems. You like straightforward answers. You
Mm-hmm.
can learn that from just observing things.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
so that's part of the artistic eye. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I also picked up like a notebook and just started writing quotes down, just
Oh
things that
yeah.
I hear or see,
Yeah.
Bible verses. So that's what I'm doing here. And so how do you and just getting support for yourself. So first of all, the most important thing you said is it's okay to be not be okay. You don't have to walk
Yes.
around with this plastered smile trying to
No.
appease everyone in the world if you're not feeling well. If you don't feel well, say it. Tell
Right.
someone. And if there's
Yeah.
no
And
one
get
in,
help if you need
and
it.
get help if you
No
need it.
shame. If
There's
you need therapy, if you
no
need to go to the doctor, go. Go.
yes, yes. And
Everyone
go
hits these periods in their life. If you live long enough, you
right,
know, and
right.
you're blessed too, everybody hits these points in their life, no matter how amazing you think they are. So if you're
Hmm.
feeling that and you're like, oh, it's just me, it's not. I've been there. I'm sure you've been there. We've all been in
Absolutely.
our dark places. We may be there
Hmm.
more than one time,
Right.
and so that is all normal. And getting help for it is also normal. So
Absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. And so in the online space, or how do you get support? How do you use your support system to help you, like the
Well,
online communities or just your family
yeah.
and friends?
Well, firstly, I have an amazing husband that is also creative, and he gives me a lot of support and feedback on my work, which is really lucky for me. And I have a great family that tells a lot of stories. They got me into science fiction. My mom and I used to watch original Star Trek. We didn't have cable for a long time, so we just had like the reruns of old sci-fi, and so that really like got my imagination going. And so I really thank her for inspiring me, and my family's always got my back on these things. And so I'm very lucky. Not everybody has that.
Yeah.
And so as far as online, don't be afraid to post things out there if you want to share your creative work. The people who need to find it will find it. And that takes time. And it's kind of a tricky lesson to learn. Everyone who loves you won't necessarily love your work, your creative work. That doesn't mean they don't love you. They might be the friend from third grade that you can call when you have a breakup or need to take time out for a coffee or stuff like that. But they may not get your Afro-futuristic art, right? They might be like, what is this? And in fact, I have gone through this. But the people who get it will find it. So like, for example, when I met you, we were just talking, we were in a forum, Sleep With Me podcast, because we both have issues getting rest. And that's a podcast that we both listen to and love. And so we were just talking about that, but then you saw my art and you got it. And we had met each other. And so if you're open to like getting support from people you've never met before, then you're going to feel a lot better about it. So the people who get what you're doing will find you. You just have to be patient and keep putting yourself out there.
Absolutely.
And they will become your support, your cheerleaders. That's how it's been for me.
Yeah, me too. Because I don't know if you know, but I was diagnosed with diabetes last year. And the first place that I came to was the online space to find people who were going through the same thing that I was going through. And as a result, I've like this huge support community of people I've never met in the real world, but we engage every day, at some point during the day. And it's so comforting and it's so reassuring, to know that at least somebody understands when I say, hey, my blood sugar was high or it was not, or I want to eat a cookie.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I think most people can understand that.
It's definitely super important to find the support community who understands you, who's going through similar issues or who share your similar interests. She said, we're in Sleep With Me podcast community. Although it's a podcast community centered around sleep issues, what I found, and I'm sure you found too, that there are so many creative people in this world. It is amazing.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes. The talent out there in the world is just staggering. That's what keeps me optimistic. I tend to be an optimist, even in these times with everything going on. And it's hard. It has challenged me severely.
Yes.
But it is who I am. And so I have to kind of honor that. And when I see people creating things, it just reminds me like, look, there are really good people out here. And we will prevail. It's a long road. It's a marathon, and we just have to keep creating. We have to keep putting stuff out there for people to enjoy. Ideas, quotes, art, food, whatever love language you have to give, like go out there and give it, and it will return to you.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid to use platform. Your Facebook page is not just for sharing cat memes and, TikTok videos, or even use TikTok. Use your space. Use your space to express who you are and what you feel. And if you can use it to help someone, all the better.
Absolutely.
All the better.
Yeah. And get
what are you
creative
working
with
on?
them.
Yeah, very creative.
Yeah.
This is what I can do. I can cook.
Right. Some people can't march, right? Some people don't feel comfortable, especially right now. But if you can go and like mail a letter to somebody, if you can volunteer, even digitally, make a meme for someone for a charity, or just donate your dollars. Like there's so many things that you can do. So don't feel like you're pigeonholed because you don't know how to do one thing that you see everybody else doing. You have to really expand yourself.
Absolutely.
And then get out there and vote. Oh, yeah.
Over here. Yeah.
Vote. Um,
Yes, definitely.
so yeah,
Definitely. That's how we change the world.
exactly. Get out
Use
there.
your
Get out
voice.
there.
Get out there and use your voice. So what are you working on that you can
I'm
share with
very
us?
excited about a project that I'm working on. I'm going to be included in a middle grade textbook called Conjuring Worlds.
No
The
way.
textbook comes out next year. It's an Afro-futurist textbook, so it teaches young people those concepts of Afrofuturism or of seeing diverse futures. And it's something I really needed as a kid. I didn't get that diverse of an education. I often felt alone. And so the idea that I can make that a whole different thing for another young person is really, really great. So I'm very excited about that.
That
Um,
is amazing. Yeah.
I can't wait to see it. I can't wait. I'm like, oh, I have to wait till next year. And it's just, but that's how books go.
Yeah.
Um, And I have a store where I'm always uploading art, and I can post that later and
Yes,
link
definitely.
somewhere so people can check that out if they're interested. And then you can follow me at Ashley Slade Art on Facebook or on Instagram. I'm more active on Instagram. Um, but there I post, a whole bunch of things. I might be doing some more behind the scenes stuff. I think people have been asking me, how do you do this and what does it look
Yes.
like?
Yes.
And so I'm going to start looking into how I can express that for people. Um, yeah. So
Awesome. Thank you so much for talking with me.
thank you for having me. I'm so excited that I got to be on your show. I love it. I love what you're doing. I love that you're
Thank
having
you.
these conversations with
Yes.
people. And I hope that, people take something away from this. I've taken a lot away from your previous conversations on diabetes and reinventing yourself. You've had some great, so if you guys haven't watched any of the other ones, go back and listen
Yeah.
to the other episodes. They're fabulous. And thank you so much.
Thank you. I will see you later. If you have any questions for Ashley, please leave them in the comments and she will be happy to answer them for
Yep,
you.
absolutely.
Absolutely. Bye, Ashley. Happy Sunday,
Bye.
everybody.
Happy Sunday.